All right, we are back with the news gang, and we were at that point, Francis, where we were talking about impeachment.
Yes.
Is this impeachment thing going to succeed? Is it even meant to succeed?
Well, talk of this impeachment was, the first statement about this impeachment was made by Senator James Orengo, Siaya Senator, at a function. And he said, in 2 weeks, mtaona ile kitu nitafanya, and give some very subtle hints about the likelihood of an impeachment. So yesterday, actually this issue has been there since the beginning of the week. A series of meetings, and eventually when the MPs who have been dubbed Kieleweke met at Serena, together with a few MPs from the NASA team, about 80 or so MPs, when they met there, they did not exactly say they are going or they are planning to impeach the deputy president, but from their statement you could see what you call grounds for impeachment. They were citing specific issues that they can use or they would use to impeach the deputy president. Issues of insubordination, abuse of office, gross misconduct, alleged disrespect for the president and for national institutions, integrity questions, a litany of them. And a short while later, the Tanga team convened at Bunge, and there's something that came up that I don't know whether we took note of, was what you would say was flexing the numbers. You mobilize, tuna mobilize kind of a situation. Kitoweo. Wow. Something of the sort. But you see, an impeachment.
But that was that for 1 meal?
Kind of. Yeah, because it looks like wewe ukimwaga ugali ni mwage kitoweo tulale njaa, sort of.
Oh.
But
okay.
The impeachment of the deputy president.
I thought of it very differently.
The impeachment of the president or the deputy president.
I know you're stuck at the ugali.
Yeah, the ugali. I see.
You can't even remember the other thing. But
yeah, it's guided by Article 145 and 150 of the Constitution. It's a process. Number one, for even a member of parliament to bring a motion to the House to impeach the president or the deputy president, that motion must be supported by at least 116 members of the National Assembly signatures, specific, so that that motion can even be considered for inclusion in the order paper by the House Business Committee.
That will be 1/3 or something.
That's a third.
Yeah.
And then for that motion to even sail through, you require the support of at least 233 members. 33. That's 2/3. So that it can now proceed to the next house, that is the Senate, where you require at least 45 senators to approve it. So the numbers may not work in terms of actualizing the impeachment of the deputy president. But what does an impeachment do? An impeachment gives you an opportunity to say all the nasty things that you'd want to say about the deputy president. As long as 116 members can sign into it and it is tabled in the House, you drag him.
This looks like it's just an attempt to keep him busy.
Yeah, and you drag him into
the mud.
Through the mud and into the context where, number one, members will say all manner of things about him. Then he will be called to respond and defend himself. So it's basically put him out there, say all the things that have been said out here in public rallies, say them now on the floor of the House.
And not necessarily, and that's humiliating. I mean, to be
it's not necessarily to actualize his removal, but to put him out there and thoroughly shame him in public. That's what I would.
But there is a flip side.
That's where
I can just quickly say there's a flip side to that. Other than embarrassing you, but if you don't, or if you win an impeachment motion, or defeat it rather, if the deputy president defeats an impeachment motion, that translates to a victory.
A vote of confidence.
It's a vote of confidence. So it actually can go either way.
All right, but you promised to talk about the system.
The system.
Ladies and gentlemen, a masterclass.
System.
No.
In Kenya, I think we use it in a very loose manner because system is supposed to refer to an establishment, or some call it deep state, and it's borrowed from the culture in the US, where you have the intelligence community that comprises the Federal Bureau of Investigations, FBI, the National Security Agency, NSA, and also the CIA. You know, because these are establishments that are there throughout. They exist across regimes. It doesn't matter which president is in office, you'll find the CIA, you'll find this establishment. Now, in Kenya, we use the word system in a loose reference to an unwritten code of how government should operate or how power should be wielded. And it's something that was developed way early, very early in this, in our independence. And the earliest wielders or people who can be identified as system people, Tom Mboya, who was an architect of what we can call system. Because system is what he used to do, take the KANU party to Limuru and force it to pass resolutions that divides the office of the vice president into eight just to finish Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Now, it is an informal operation because you will not find them operating within the rules of the civil service. They use state power. They use the ability to basically muscle their way, security agencies and all that, which is why DP William Ruto knows very well that this can be a very, very bad weapon. There are those analysts who say, Raila Odinga, for example, why has he never been able to become president? System. I see someone here saying, you know, system can also affect individuals like journalists. It's true. Because system is also plain bad manners by government officials. People are wielding power without following rules. And they can do nasty things. Nasty things like, you know, not allowing police officers to be present when the DP is arriving in a function, or just tell a county commander not to be present. You know,
or punish a county commissioner who attends.
Who attends. These are bad manners. They are not written.
And no one will come out and say, yesterday we actually instructed our county commissioner in this
because by nature, and I'll talk about it.
It doesn't happen like that.
Because by nature, the system must be faceless. You don't come and say, I'm the system. Because you should not even have an address. But when you see DP Ruto talking, he knows where the address is. It's across the road. Harambee was not the annex.
Okay, and I have a question now. So now that he comes out and he says the system is out to get me, you know, what's the value in that? Is it something that would then have the system go slower? Is he trying to out them? Are they outable?
But it can only mean that he's lost favor with that system.
That is true, but what is he hoping to achieve going against something that's so powerful?
Given the faceless nature of this, as Linus was explaining, there's no way where the system itself will come out and say we are going to do everything. Which means that they can do things to you that no one will ever attribute to them because they're faceless.
But my question though is, if it's so shadowy, what does the outing of the so-called system by the deputy president, how does that play out now? Does the system double down on him, if at all? Does it hold back, pull back because they've been outed? Like what happens next?
It's not 100% shadowy. You can actually trace it to a particular person in the administration. In the Jomo Kenyatta regime, that would be Tom Mboya, and after that, Charles Njonjo. You can know those were the wielders of power at that time. In the Moi administration, you will start with, first of all, there was a big team that included Gigi Kariuki, there was Kereni, there was also the likes of Nicholas Biwott in the early stages. And remember, for Moi to settle down, he had to destroy the previous system that included
the Kembu Mafia? Charles
Njonjo, 1983. Get rid of him so that you bring in your guys who can now wield powers.
Recreate
now, what is the DP doing? You know, he shouts a lot of time saying, Raila Odinga, for example, when he's talking about his frustration with what is going on politically. Then he comes close home when he names Matiang'i, for example. Is he the owner or the face of the system? The thing is, you will find within the administration people who would own those positions. In the Moi era, for example, you will have this powerful intelligence chief, Kanyotu. You knew Kanyotu, his government, his establishment. And then after that, there will be the likes of Noah Rapto.
Even Nyachai, when he was
chief. Yes. So you can actually, if you want, if you have the courage, you go for them. It's not what the DP was saying, if you are Wanaume, it's the other way around. Actually, go for them because you know who they are.
But you see, works perfectly well within his modus operandi. What is it? That this system cannot win you the presidency. The presidency will be from the people, directly engage with the voters. And that's basically what he has been trying to do. Go out there, talk to ordinary citizens, attend functions that have ordinary people. There was a function, there was a...
Sorry, just before you talk about the relationship between the system and the vote, and there is a direct one.
Yep.
If you look at the 2013 election, if Raila Odinga was to analyze how he lost, one of the reasons was his fight against the provincial administration. When he puts it in his campaign that the first thing he'll do is to remove the provincial administration. You convert every chief, and you know how well spread they are across the country,
into a campaigner against
you. Okay. And William Ruto knows these things, which is why even he will not go 100% fighting against the system. He would wish to own the system. Remember, he's a latter-day convert on this issue of the system. He was happy with it all these years since Jubilee administration came in. But now that it's stepping back, not assisting him, it becomes an issue. So there is in Kenya a direct link between how we vote and the weight of the system.
And some people say
that
the system counts the votes.
It doesn't vote.
In fact,
just a small one.
And it is not the people who vote that count the votes.
A small one.
Yes,
you see, you can now then trace his quarrels with the system. He has had a series of run-ins with what you call the system. County commissioners are absent in his functions. Armed policemen are absent in his functions. You saw Mwangi wa Iria invade his function at Kenyaho Secondary School to respond to accusations that had been made against him at a previous function. And what you notice is that Mwangi wa Iria, the governor of Murang'a, with his team, went right to the tent where the deputy president was seated. Suppose the MPs who had, quote-unquote, abused Mwangi wa Iria were at a function attended by the president. Would he invade a similar function, the next function, so to say? He wouldn't. In fact, look at some statement that was made by Dr. Fred Matiang'i, the CS in charge of Interior Affairs, at a function in Kirinyaga County, specifically saying who they are beholden to or who they are answerable to. And you hear some guys in government say the reason why DP is being fought is probably because he has assumed that the presidency is co-shared, is co-owned. Did you hear Ayub Savula say yesterday that there is no co-president? Did you hear Matiang'i that day? In fact, now, listen to what Matiang'i was saying.
So we can,
Sisi hatupendagi mambo ya upuzi kubebana hivi, kazi lazima ifanye. Sababu tulipewa kazi tufanye, na mheshimiwa rais wetu ametupea kazi tufanye. Kama nchi inatawaliwa na inalindwa kama boma inalindwa. Boma ina mtu wa kuongoza mmoja. Kuna mtu hapa kuna familia ambayo inaongozwa na wazee wawili. Hapana, familia inaongozwa na mzee mmoja. Sisi tunafanyia Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta kazi. Ndio rais wetu.
I have nothing else to say.
You see, Francis, looking at what Matiang'i was saying there, there's something also that changed in 2010 when the new constitution was promulgated. Because now the 2013 election that brought Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto into power created a powerful position of, an elected position of deputy president, different from other previous vice presidents.
But with which functions?
Zero functions. The functions never changed. But what we've seen is DP Ruto executing the position of deputy president in a way that his previous predecessors did not, because it was always an office that has to be almost obscure. You cannot outshine your master. You cannot look like you are as good as your master. You cannot speak almost in the same terms as the president. And that is, I think, where the cardinal sin was committed in as far as how William Ruto executed the office of deputy president. He came out as what Matiang'i is saying there, Ndume wawili in the same crowd.
But